Hey y'all, so I got another request, a lot of requests coming in this past week, to talk about the coronavirus. Now, I'm not going to talk about what we already basically know, which is the person was like, talk about the tips and stuff like that. But again, I'm not a medical person, and so I'm not really gonna talk about like the science behind it. I'm gonna talk about something that we're not talking about, which is there are psychological impacts to a pandemic. There are psychological impacts to your own mental health, considering the condition, and more importantly, how your own mental health will impact, not going to say your likeliness, but your likeliness for getting it or not getting it or fending off any medical problem, to be quite honest. So, first of all, let's just go through what we already know. So, we already know that we should be washing our hands. We should be washing our hands all the time anyway. We should be, like people are saying, sneezing into your elbow, your shoulder, your sleeve. That's something that I've been doing in Toronto since like the past decade. So I don't sneeze like this. You'd rarely see me sneeze like this unless I sneeze into a tissue. But this shoulder sneeze like this is what people need to be doing. I'm not sure why we've I think we, as children naturally do like this with their hand, but we're not children. We need to be like cognizant of the fact that sneezing into your hands puts germs there. So definitely we're going to be trying to utilize more the sneezing like that. Now, in talking to you guys, I've touched my face about 4 times in the past 30 seconds. Definitely need to start to cognitively consider not touching your face. Now, there are people who sit like this. Sometimes they sit in sessions and they sit like this. I've seen this a lot of people. People, take your hands off from your face. I can look at a client and within 5 to 10 minutes, I can ask them if they have, I can already ask them if they sit like this at a desk. Why do I know that? Because people sometimes tend to have acne just in this area here. Why? Because these are the people who sit at their desk like this and sit, and then they're touching the keyboard and they're touching the mouse and they're doing this. And so you'll see, or sometimes people, how their hair, women, how and men, how your hair hangs. Sometimes people have a lot of acne up here and stuff like that. That's because, again, the oil and the dirt is touching your face. So getting your hair out of your face, getting your hands out of your face, being like catching yourself when you are doing that. For people like myself, we are nail biters and more so nail pickers rather than biters. Definitely becoming more cognizant of things like that. Like if you're a nail biter, you're gonna have to learn to have a little impulse control and calm it down, basically. So, being aware is what's going to keep you healthy during this time. So, being aware that while you're touching, moving from car to home, dealing with money, people tend to deal with money and then they go and eat like a burger, right? So, like if you're at Giftland and you pay for your like Publix or you pay for your Big Macs or whatever, and you go and you bite right into your food without trying to go and wash your hands before you go collect your food, you're going to be putting those germs in. So it really is about being cognizant. Now they're saying using hand sanitizer. Those things are only going to work for so long. Unless you're topping up hand sanitizer like every hour, every half an hour, that's up to you. My hands get very dry with hand sanitizer, so that's not going to work for me. Knowing what works for you is really important, right? And so again, awareness is really important. Don't touch people. I mean, it's great for me because as a psychologist, I don't touch any of you. So that's great. Of course, for people who are nurses and teachers, you're going to have a problem because you're going to be interacting with people who are susceptible to having germs. Um, and I know I'm saying germs, but really we mean things like the coronavirus. I mean, if it's not here yet, even though they're saying today there might have been one, it's about the practice now of getting prepared for, like, it's all great and dandy. They can tell you all these things, but what I'm here to do is to tell you to be cognizant of your actions, because I'm taken from a psychological standpoint. I'm getting people here. Um, People are talking about how like biting their nails gets the best of their teeth. Yeah. I mean, I haven't, knock wood, I haven't chipped a tooth or anything yet on biting my nails, but I'm pretty sure it's not good for my stomach either. If you can eat some of those nails as well. I have people recommending soap and water. Definitely. So this is now this advice being given about, singing the happy birthday song, singing whatever. Last night I tried it. It's really long, to be quite honest. Like, we really don't know what 20 seconds is when you're trying to wash your hands, because a lot of times we are not washing our hands. So we want to get in between like the crevices, we want to get in the nail bed, we want to get even up to like past your wrists, I would say. Those are things that are important. And then you also want to um, dry your hands. Don't just go flinging it like that. Like kids tend to do that a lot. And I'm saying kids, and I'm including the children, because as caregivers or parents or aunts or whatever family members, we also have to monitor our children's health. It's not just about making sure we're clean, because someone made a really good point. All y'all buying up, this is buying up in the States and stuff, all the hand sanitizer and all the soap and this and that. But now you're still leaving other people to be susceptible who are not getting access to these things, and they're going to get the virus and or pass it on. So you can put up all your immunities you want and buy all the sanitizer you want, but there's still going to be people out there who have the germs or has the virus. So being aware of, your own hygiene, your own cleanliness, soap and water, singing, that kind of thing, being aware that 20 seconds is not just in and out. Like I said, drying properly is really important. Getting in between the crevices, because you can wash off the germs, but then if the liquid is still there, or like anything that has trapped a germ or the virus on your hands, you definitely need to um, definitely get some more. Now, also, we want to look at the quality of hand sanitizers. I'm having Tisha here commenting, yep, some supermarkets here have no sanitizer in stock anymore. And that's probably because we have international people who live here now. And so they're probably quite paranoid and they've bought out a lot of the stuff. And we're not, like, Guyanese don't, for whatever reason, tend to use hand sanitizer. I don't know. Obviously, that's a generalization, but like, we have to consider that, like, when you go into offices, how many times do you see hand sanitizer? People come into my office and they're like, "Ooh, hand sanitizer," and they go ham on it, right? And also, like I said, quality of your hand sanitizer. Like, I saw someone put up a meme the other day, like today, that says, "Your coronavirus looking at you when you're seeing that your hand sanitizer has 10% alcohol and 90% glitter," right? So um, being aware that you have to get quality um, products, quality stuff. And I remember being a child a long time ago and seeing all these, Dove and stuff. And I thought to myself, does it really get out stuff? Does it really, like Fabuloso and stuff? I've always wondered, does it really get out the germs? Like, if your stuff smells good, because we grew up on Dettol, and Dettol smelled like it was cleaning the germs, right? So if anyone, thumbs up if you remember how Dettol smelled on your floor, or how pine salt smelled on your floor before everything became flavored, right? Or scented. And so, even so, like, I'm not a big fan of scented hand sanitizer. So definitely consider. You're gonna, you see, look. I'm scratching my face just talking about it. You see, you got to be cognizant, and I'll work on it for the next coming couple of days. So stay with me, and I implore all of you to work on it cognitively, seeing how much you touch your face. Um, Rubbing your eyes. I find this week I'm rubbing my eyes a lot. I'm not one with sinus or allergies, but I find I've been rubbing my eyes a lot, and I don't know why. So again, need to be mindful of that. Noel said panic and pandemonium here in JA. Yeah, because JA just released that they have a case, and that's scary for me because I'm traveling to Jamaica in a few weeks, and I have a child who tends to have sinus issues sometimes and is stuffy. So I'm concerned about, and like my nephew, if he cries for 2 seconds, his nose just starts to run. And so I'm worried about him getting contaminated or touching stuff, or, we're going to be cleaning a lot, just like on the flight from Guyana to like Jamaica. And then, of course, my mother, And they said this specifically people who are at risk are elderly people and people who have hypertension. I don't know why, but of course, you're looking at people who have also respiratory issues. So if anyone knows my mom, she is a smoker, so she probably definitely has some respiratory issues, and she's a little bit older, and with stress comes hypertension. Now, this is what I want to talk about. Hold on, before I go into what I really want to talk about, because you guys already know everything I've just talked about. I've just made it more practical, right? Someone said, Raylon said, paranoia is such a common disorder when it comes to pandemic. People's paranoia is a natural high, which would cause anxiety and self-destruction. I was watching the news and parents spray their children with different chemicals, which in turn can cause internal damage. The news needs to warn against such things. Exactly. Like, we don't want to load our children up with just hand sanitizer and soap and these kinds of things. Now, this is what I really wanted to talk about. Germs do best in an unhealthy space. Viruses, cancer, HIV, diabetes, it deals well with an unstable space. It deals well with a space that is not healthy, that has a lot of toxins in there, and has a very, even things like your pH of your body is really important. So you want to be able that during this time, you're not only cleaning and sanitizing and being cognizant of what you're doing. You also want to work on building up your immune system. People have said this, but what I want to engage with you all is the fact that our immune system is compromised by stress. It is compromised by our mental health. Our body and our mind work so well together that when one is not working well, it's going to affect the other. So for those who do have mental health issues and do suffer with stress, be mindful that you may be considered vulnerable. Now, no one has said this from the medical field, but just as a psychologist, I know what having mental health issues and extreme levels of stress can do to the body. And so with that knowledge, I'm encouraging people to increase your immunity, take your vitamins, drink your water, be hydrated. Consider what you're doing, whether it's work or your friends or your family or your relationships that are stressing you out. Now, you have to understand that stress can impact things like your body, like the immunity, but it also can present some of the symptoms. I was sitting down yesterday reading the symptoms, and I turned to my partner. I'm like, oh my God, I think I have corona, right? And they're like, no, you're just being stupid. And indeed, I was being stupid. I was just being paranoid. But it said things like fatigue. Now, this week I have been especially, not fatigued, but the second symptom I looked at was body aches and stuff. And I really this week I woke up feeling very like stiff. And so that could be both a mental and physical thing. So I'm encouraging people to acknowledge and be aware if you're feeling fatigued or you're feeling sore or whatever the case may be. These are considered some of the symptoms. But the thing is, those are also some of the symptoms that comes with stress. So it's like the chicken or the egg. Is it corona? Is it stress? If I'm feeling this way, then if it is stress, then that makes me susceptible to germs and diseases in general. And so we have to be mindful of being able to find space and places and time to relax, to like Steve just said, get exercise. Now I'm going to tell you all to be mindful of types of exercises. Exercising, like going for maybe like a walk or walking your dog or going to sit on the seawall and relax, those are fine. They said in the States that gyms are okay. I don't know how gyms are okay because gyms are flooded with germs. I don't even understand how gyms are okay. I would not recommend people going to gym once we start getting cases in Guyana because you are touching everything. You are literally sweating on the equipment. Why is this okay? I'm not sure, but I would not encourage people to go to gym. What I would recommend you do your workouts at home. Do maybe have a friend come over, and you guys do a buddy workout that doesn't require much touching, and that kind of thing. Yoga by yourself, meditation by yourself, self-care in general, taking care of your hygiene. I always tell people I pick one day of the week and I do all my grooming and my cream and my waxing or whatever these things people do. Wash my hair, blow dry it. I'll obviously wash my hair more than once a week, but I don't necessarily blow dry it. I'm very much an air dry girl. And so, blow drying your hair, like taking care of yourself. If you could just set aside one day of the week to take care of your grooming and your hygiene and stuff like that, you will feel better about yourself. And the better you feel about yourself, less likely you are to feel stressed. Less likely you are to feel stressed, the less likely your immune will be compromised. And if your immune is not compromised, you might be okay. Just okay, right? Here's some suggestions. I'm seeing people say, Alistair said, I'd like to ask persons who are rapidly spreading panic through arrogance and paranoia. There's a report issue of a woman who would have died in the AE room at the Georgetown Public Hospital. Yeah, I know that happened this morning. And who may have been suspected to have pneumonia, I think, and is being tested for the coronavirus, which when I heard the report on the news was 1 p.m. Takes 7 hours before results can be obtained. Yeah, of course. Let's just not spread more panic. Guyanese are very good at being alarmists for the wrong things, in my opinion. And I know you guys have watched a lot of my videos, and I know sometimes I come off as being really mean to Guyanese, to my own people, but it's just because I've seen a lot, and I've heard a lot, and I try to be objective, but it's the truth. We're really alarmists for the wrong things. Like when we should be alarmists for robbery and rape and child abuse, we're not. Not as much as we should be. But if somebody, something exciting happens, or like, look how elections turned out, it's all of that was just a lot of paranoia and excitement for things that maybe we should put that energy elsewhere. All right, get enough sleep, very important. Yes, we need good quality sleep. I've talked about this before, good quality sleep, because you see, I think we should do a thumbs up for every time I touch my face, and then I'll know, see how many times I touch my face in this session. Eat well, drink your vitamins, eat fruit, any of these things. Sarah Lee says walk up and down the stairs, right? These are things that we do need to consider as helping our bodies be prepared for potentially a virus that is very intrusive and very easily spread. I mean, for something to stay in your system for 14 days, you're really going to be contagious, because how many people are we going to interact with in the span of 2 weeks, right? Noelle says, don't panic. Ensure that your info comes from reliable sources. See World Health Organization, link provided below. Yes, thank you, Noelle. Sarah Lise, proud of you, right? Thanks for this. No problem. You guys know I got you. I'm always here for you. So I don't want to drone on too long. I just wanted to tap in and get you guys to understand that this is not just about hand sanitizer. This is about making sure your body and your mind is in a stable place that keeps you from being susceptible to getting any condition, but specifically corona at this time. Making sure that your stress levels are regulated, your emotions are regulated. You can go back on my page on Naira Counseling and Psychological Services, scroll through. There's tons of articles on how to regulate emotions. There's an emotional wheel that I shared out last year. It's my favorite thing to help people identify their emotions and being able to regulate it, keep calm in the sense of a pressuresome time, and just understanding that there are other things that can be done. Self-care, coping mechanisms, like we said, disengaging with stressful factors or stressors, and understanding that we have to be also mentally prepared so that we're not susceptible. Okay, if there's any more questions before I go, let me know. Thumbs up for everyone who found this this video helpful. I am leaving the country, like I said, in a few weeks, and there will be a lot more videos. I'm like super excited. I'm trying not to think about the fact that I'll be away from the country for a while, but I'm telling myself that it's gonna have good outcomes. Okay, so thank you all for tuning in. Really, really appreciate this. Share, 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 share. If I left something out, include it. Please continue the conversation in the comments and I will check in with it later. All right, share, share, and have a good day. Be safe and mwah. See, no touching your face. Bye.